The USC was not always a government looking to provide a better environment for the universe's inhabitants. Its roots lie with a large corporation that predates the UEE. With Roberts Space Industries completing the first commercially available Starship in 2140, and space travel becoming more popular by 2200, Fener Industries was founded in 2204 with the aim to design and manufacture high-end parts and components for the growing number of Starship builders, as well as design ship interiors and user control and interface consoles. Attention to detail, user-friendly designs, and fiscal responsibility helped Fener Industries establish respectable market share for such a highly competitive field during the boom years of the up circa 2525. With the Cold War of 2530 between the Up and Zen Empire, Fener Industries, like many other companies, started to expand their operations to manufacturing armor, shielding, and weaponry. While Fener Industries had a small number of contracts with the Up for weaponry, the most lucrative being an innovative compact Mac cannon design. Fener mostly focused on developing weaponry and shielding for the private sector, offering reliable and affordable options that everyday citizens could afford. To better serve this market, Fener started shifting operations to the fringes of the galaxy, providing their products to people who may have had to wait weeks for a similar product to be shipped to them otherwise. With the formation of the UEE in 2546, and Messer's unprecedented expansion and colonization agenda, profits for Fener Industries soared. The company expanded operations to several new colony worlds, offering much-needed investment and employment to the backwater populations there, in order to meet the needs of the growing industries. It was an unprecedented time for Fener Industries. After publicly condemning the Second Tiverine War of 2603 to 2610, Fener Industries joined Senator Kieran of Terra in calling for a vote of sovereignty for Terra and its adjacent systems in 2638. Fener Industries was one of many to accuse the UEE of involvement in Senator Kieran's disappearance and alleged death. In the years that followed, Fener Industries faced massive tax increases, Fener executives narrowly avoided multiple assassination attempts, and Fener Industries convoys started falling prey to a suspicious rise in highly coordinated privateer attacks. Fener Industries refused to close any of its operations or lay off any workers despite the financial setbacks. Instead, Fener Industries used the need to provide increased security for their convoys to create a new security division, offsetting their costs by providing a regional security and allowing others to join their convoys. During the political unrest starting around 2715, Fener Industries continued pushing for social justice and political accountability from the UEE. Despite ever-rising UEE sanctions, Fener contributed large amounts of credits to multiple organizations lobbying for government reform on Earth. As the UEE became increasingly authoritarian in preparation for war with the Zen Empire, Fener Industries adopted the slogan Equality, Prosperity, Freedom as a symbol of what the company will stand for in the coming years and centuries. The slogan stood as a promise to all Fener employees of what they could expect from the company, and this act of defiance against the UEE war machine was met with praise from the Fener employees. There were some who whispered that Fener Industries might be considering seizing control of the planets their operations were based on. In 2789, Fener Industries applauded Senator Terence Sakari for negotiating a peace treaty with the young Zen Emperor Kray. Fener, among many others, declared Terra the forward-thinking political entity the galaxy needed, and again called for a vote of independence for Terra and surrounding systems. Hit with more politically motivated fines and tax increases, Fener Industries was being pushed to the brink, forsake what the company had stood for over the centuries and stay in business, or risk financial ruin and bankruptcy. The massacre of Garantu in 2792 was the final straw for many people, including Fener Industries. With the backing of its millions of employees, Fener Industries reorganizes into the United Space Confederation, joining the uprising against the UEE. Declaring its independence and seizing the planets from the UEE was not a decision made lightly. The USC had several hard-fought battles with UEE forces who were stationed on the outer fringes of the galaxy. With the uprising on Earth and no reinforcements able to come to their aid, the UEE forces were pushed out of the systems by the ex-Fener employees turned USC citizens. With Aaron Toyverth becoming the new imperator and promises an age of enlightenment and social consciousness, the UEE requests the relatively small area now under USC control to return to the UEE. Despite the promise of more social consciousness, the unwillingness of Earth to do away with the old imperator system, and not wanting to dishonor the sacrifice their citizens made to get to this position, the United Space Confederation respectfully declines the UEE request. Wanting to keep the new promise of a more enlightened and socially conscious government, the UEE decides to not challenge the small government. UEE and USC relations are strenuous but not hostile. Over a century of peace follows, with the United Space Confederation keeping its promise of equality, prosperity, and freedom to its citizens. Relative stability in the UE government means that, despite its flaws, many are content with UE rule. Political activism quiets, and many companies who supported movements and groups such as the USC begin to withdraw extensive financial support. Contracts that guaranteed discounted parts and ships for USC fleets begin to fall by the wayside, as many companies look to increase profits. While Fener Industries had amassed a huge amount of wealth and assets over the centuries of operations, maintaining the economy of 3 planets, under UEE trade sanctions, was expensive. UEE trade sanctions over the USC nearly doubled in 2919. Increased jump point inspections and blockades meant it was harder for supportive companies and local governments to simply ignore the trade restrictions. By 2929, the USC economy is feeling the strain of the increasing trade sanctions. USC High Command cutbacks and sacrifices are made to support the civilian economic structure. Military forces shrink from funding cutbacks and a lack of discounted ships and parts to maintain fleet vessels. In 2935, High Command makes the difficult decision to sell 50% of the capital ships in the Defense Force naval fleets. The funds are used to stimulate the economy, and fewer ships in the fleet mean lower operating costs for the military. Some small economic growth is seen following the credit injections, and many hope this is the turning point for the USC's stagnant economic situation. In September 2939, the Expeditionary Corps and Office of Naval Intelligence file a worrying report to USC High Command. The report details the highly classified, 6-month project, Operation was an extensive research and reconnaissance mission, tracking UEE ship and soldier movements, contractors, shipbuilding and raw materials, and new shipyards. The operation revealed troop and ship transfers, as well as ships being constructed near USC space and new shipyards. I believe the very slow movement was an attempt to avoid drawing attention to the transfers and construction. The report was ominous, but with no solid evidence of a coming invasion to draw public support, and a dwindling military fleet, little could be done to strengthen USC jump point borders. 28th of November, 2939. The UEE launches a simultaneous assault on all 3 USC planets. The limited Defense Force fleet means the USC is fighting a losing battle within 20 minutes of the first engagement. High Command activates the Arbiter Evacuation Contingency, put in place after the report of Operation Grave sacrifices are made by the USC military forces while protecting the escape of USC civilians. Crews on the orbital defense stations operate their MAC cannons until the guns are so destroyed they will no longer fire. ODSTs drop Huntu, and breach UEE cruisers, knowing they will most likely not be making the return journey. Fighter pilots brave a hail of flak, doing their best to keep UEE fighters away from the transport ships. Most of the civilian population is able to escape, thanks to the sacrifices of the brave men and women fighting for the USC. Much of the USCDF and USAC fleets are destroyed in the battle. Mid-December on the Earth calendar, Just over 2 weeks after being forced from their system, the USC seeks refuge in the Terra system. The government on Prime, remembering the hundreds of years of support for Terra, offers the USC sanctuary. USC ships are granted diplomatic status. Near completed buildings in a new section of Prime City are earmarked for USC leases, and financial assistance in the form of low-interest loans are offered if needed. The USC, operating primarily from Prime City, Prime, Terra system, and the few remaining capital ships left in the fleet, begins to rebuild and re-establish itself in the galaxy. The USC Recovery Act of 2940 is signed, authorizing increased spending for all branches. A new USC crest is commissioned, reaffirming the values held so close, and adding some after so much hardship. 2944. Today, the USC works to ensure the safety of its citizens and provide them with every opportunity that the universe has to offer. While there is much to rebuild after a loss of this magnitude, the USC strives to stay committed to the original pledge formed in 2715, equality, prosperity, freedom. The USC maintains close ties with Terra, its surrounding systems, and many of the corporations based there. As the USC nears its second century in existence, the government is committed to its strong roots and ideals, rebuilding its economy and extensive fleets, and retaking its 3 lost planets. You have reached the end of this update from Cypher. Have a nice day, Star Citizen.